had always branded myself as the creator of the creators, right? I mean, they had actually branded me that creator to the creators. And I was always their stealth secret, right? Behind the scenes. And so initially I started branding myself in that regard, starting in it took me like from March to October to even get my nerve up to start actually teaching classes because I was experiencing my own terror barrier, which is what I teach and write about all the time for everybody else. So I had this little terror barrier going on because it's kind of like, well, I'm not big enough to actually step into this space. I'm working with Bob Proctor, I'm working with Jack Campbell, I'm working with Mark Hansen, I'm working with Deepak Chopra, I'm working with all these giant stars, and I'm just like this little person. So that was probably the biggest thing. And it really wasn't until just maybe 3 months ago that I really started changing up the brand to what I really am. It took a while for me to recognize and really step into that myself, and say, okay, yeah, I know how to do this because I have done this. I've created it for these people. So it was really interesting stepping into that brand. And it was like, are you sure you should do this and say this about yourself? But since then, it's just really had just really great impact.
Wow. And as you were describing that to me, Diane, this visual came up in my mind. It's almost like I imagine like these, big stars, like you said, on a stage, but you're the person operating lights. You literally are the one shining that spotlight, allowing them to do the work that they are doing, helping, grow that movement. And so even if people may not see you from the audience, it's like without you, that light wouldn't be there. That spotlight wouldn't be on them in the way that it is. Right. And so I'm so glad you took that leap of faith. And despite your, what did you call it? A terror barrier?
Yeah.
That's a good one. I've not heard that before.
Something I made up along the way, but it really is true. I mean, you hit that barrier and you're like, I can't do this. I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back this way, instead of pushing through the barrier.
Right. What do you think was the biggest, I don't know, catalyst or decision or whatever happened that actually made you, because you said from March to October, you were just getting up the courage to really put yourself out there. What was that final thing that made you do it? Like just say, okay, I'm going to start and I'm going to put myself out there and start teaching and, doing all the things.
Yeah, it was really that. I thought, I've been creating curriculum for all these people. If I'm going to create curriculum for me, I need to have an excuse to do it, to force my hand. So at the time, Bob Proctor had a giant thing going on called MSI Connect, multiple streams of income, which was teaching people how to create all these different streams of income. And my very dear friend who ran all of his production, was running that show. And so I called him, I said, hey, would you mind if I just taught like just 20 minutes every now and then? And he was like, oh my God, it would be so great. And so it was really great because it forced me to come up with a curriculum and actually get in front of a Zoom and teach people, and I was amazed at how they responded because you never know how much you have in your head that people don't know, and they're always so stunned and so enraptured with what you have in your head. We never think about how great that is, right? So it was really cool to work my way in there. And then I began doing more and more and more of those to kind of like build up my thing,
Yeah, I think you're right. We totally underestimate ourselves because we're so close to it, right? It's like these are the thoughts that circulate in our head on a daily basis, or maybe we don't even stop to think about them because they're just stored in our subconscious. And so we don't recognize the power in that. And it's funny because right before this call, actually, Diane, I was on a different call with my friend Megan, who was giving me my human design session or reading or whatnot. And I'm not really super familiar with that world, but she was saying how, sometimes, your superpower is not necessarily saying something new or different. It's the way that you convey or communicate a thought that really makes it clear for people and that it creates that aha moment for them. And so I think that's one of the things that I really admire about you as well.